We're starting with WWE, as it's been over 18 years since the WWE Universe was first introduced to Bobby Lashley in 2005, and since then, the Almighty has had an epic career, one that won't be ending anytime soon. On After the Bell, Lashley was asked about the idea of retirement and said that he has no intention to retire anytime soon. Lashley said that while you may see a UFC fighter have one too many fights and look sad by the end, that won't be the case with him, as he has a team of partners who will be honest with him if he should retire. Lashley was on SmackDown this week where he defeated Carlito, and judging by his impressive performance, it'll likely be a long time before we see the Almighty leave his boots in the ring. SmackDown News Now is this week's show saw some Raw talent appear, but only after the show had gone off the air. In a first-ever match, Jey Uso would face Intercontinental Champion Gunther, and while Jey got the victory, it was by DQ after Gunther hit a low blow. Gunther left SmackDown with the gold, but he'll soon defend his title at Survivor Series, and if he can leave Chicago as Intercontinental Champion, he may find Jey Uso waiting for him and another shot at the title. One name fans aren't expecting to see at Survivor Series is Karrion Kross, who has had a strange time in WWE ever since his high-profile return last year. On Twitter, BWE gave an update on Kross, saying that there were plans for a push earlier this year, and that a big push was in line for after SummerSlam, but that was later postponed. That push was moved back because of Crown Jewel, but with Kross still nowhere in sight, who knows when, if ever, this push of his will ever happen. Do you think Kross will ever get this push that has reportedly been planned for months, or will he continue to fall through the crowd? Give your take down below. At Crown Jewel, Logan Paul captured the WWE United States Championship, his first taste of WWE Gold, and the culmination of 19 months since his in-ring debut at WrestleMania 38. Paul's feud with former champion Rey Mysterio began when Paul called out the Hall of Famer following his boxing win over Dylan Dennis, and don't expect a rematch between the fighters. Appearing on Fox Business, Logan Paul said that he thinks he's done with boxing and wants to commit himself fully to pro wrestling. He said, "Yeah, I think I'm retired from boxing. I've done enough going fully undefeated at 25-0. I'm going to be a wrestler now. No more money in boxing, every company is going broke, full-time wrestler. Beat Rey Mysterio, fair and square for the US Championship, it feels great. It was a dominant performance. Some frog splashes, some punches, it feels good." Logan Paul has previously said that he expects to appear more in WWE now that he holds the US title, but whatever happens next, don't expect the Maverick back in a boxing ring. But what do you think of this? Is Paul right to hang up his gloves and commit himself fully to WWE? And what do you want to see next? Sound off in the comments. On this week's AEW Dynamite, Mariah May made her debut for the company in a backstage segment with RJ City, which came as a surprise given that AEW had not teased her arrival. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was reported that May has been in AEW's crosshairs for some time, and we now have an idea as to what her first major storyline will be. It is reported that May and Toni Storm will have an angle similar to All About Eve, the 1950 picture that won 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. For any of you who aren't old-school film buffs, All About Eve is the story of a Broadway star who thinks her best years are behind her, aka Storm, who recruits a young fan of her career, May. Eventually, the fan becomes a huge part of the aging star's life, but is also manipulative to the point that she essentially becomes the new young star everybody is focusing on. It'll be quite the angle if AEW goes ahead with it, and it'll give May a huge spotlight now that she's all elite, and depending on Storm's match at Full Gear, their inevitable feud could have gold on the line. Since arriving in WWE NXT, Lexis King has integrated himself into the product, and on this week's show tried to stir things up between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. The former AEW star has also been impressive in the ring when he's competed at live events, but this week, King suffered his first loss as an NXT superstar. That loss took place at an NXT live event in Lakeland, Florida, and saw King go 6-1 by losing to Carmelo Hayes in singles competition. When King lost, the fact that his 7th WWE match was against one of the biggest stars of NXT bodes well for him, and he's quickly climbing the ranks of WWE's Gold brand. During this week's SmackDown, Kairi, Sane, and Asuka were welcomed into Damage Control despite their past differences with Bayley. In 2020, Sane was written off of TV with an attack by Bayley and Sasha Banks, and while that's all history, there was a difference of opinion between the two on SmackDown fans may not have noticed. When Sane went to take a picture with an eager fan, Bayley stepped in and made it clear that Damage Control doesn't do this, so while the fan didn't get their selfie, they got a very unique video featuring two superstars. It's been some time since we last saw Liv Morgan in the ring, and PW Insider reports this week that she'll be getting evaluated at some time this month to see how her healing has come along. Until WWE gets the results back from that evaluation, there's no word on when to expect her back in the ring, but we are continuing to wish the former champion a full and easy recovery. When Cody Rhodes returned to WWE at WrestleMania 38, he received a hero's ovation and has been one of the company's most popular stars ever since then. These positive reactions are in stark contrast to the mixed at best responses Cody received in AEW, and it may be the fans who are to blame for running the American Nightmare out of the company. Speaking on Fight Nation, Bully Ray has said AEW fans have themselves to blame for Cody and WWE doing so well, as they pushed him away at every chance they could get. Bully said that the fans clearly think they know better about what Cody should be doing than Cody himself, adding that Rhodes went from a savior with AEW's launch to public enemy number one. Since leaving AEW, Cody has respectively given only praise for the promotion, and those AEW fans unhappy with Rhodes' success in WWE should look in the mirror to see who's to blame. For some time now, Bruce Prichard has been working backstage with WWE, and until the TKO launch, was considered the most powerful person not to be a McMahon family member. Recently, Prichard shared a photo that he quickly deleted, but not before fans saw it and speculated that it was a sign of his WWE tenure coming to an end. The photo in question was of a gold watch, which are often presented as a token of appreciation to long-serving employees in a company and are typically presented at the time someone retires. While some would be glad to see the Vince McMahon advocate go, that won't be happening, as House of Wrestling learned that Prichard is a fan of watches and meant to send the pic to a friend. As soon as Prichard realized his mistake, he deleted the photo and finds it hilarious that people would take this as a sign of a retirement. The former Brother Love is today the executive director of Raw and SmackDown, and despite what some may believe, there's no sign of him retiring anytime soon. While CM Punk has no shortage of enemies in AEW, not everyone is against the former world champion, and if you've seen Danhausen's social media, you'll know the two are friends. After Punk shared a cheeseburger meme on Instagram and tagged Danhausen in it, the very nice, very evil star gave context by tweeting a delivery of 14 cheeseburgers that were sent to his home. Danhausen said that Pepsi Phil, his nickname for Punk, sent the burgers his way, so no matter what the future in AEW holds for Danhausen, at least he won't be going hungry. And we're ending today with Sarah Bayer, who was until recently part of the WWE NXT roster, and now the ex-superstar has made her indie debut. Bayer, who had 4 matches at NXT live events, was at the IWR Fall Brawl in Monroe, Michigan on November 9th, and she now looks to find success on the independent scene. With the SAG-AFTRA strike coming to an end, it's believed that John Cena will be returning to Hollywood soon enough to continue the many projects he was working on before the strike. Cena has become quite the notable name on the silver screen thanks to his roles in the Suicide Squad and the Fast and Furious series, but John's acting career has recently faced a setback. The Hollywood Reporter has learned that Warner Brothers has decided not to move forward with the Coyote vs. Acme film that Cena had been set to star in, despite filming wrapping up last year. In a statement, a Warner Brothers spokesperson said that this was a difficult decision brought on by a shift in the company's global strategy, and we imagine Cena isn't thrilled about this update at all. Whatever Cena's future holds in Hollywood, it's clear that his wrestling career is winding down, with John even teasing retirement after his loss to Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel. We know that Cena's recent stint with WWE will be ending soon, but it may not happen before John addresses fans one last time. According to reports, there have been tentative plans for Cena to address fans on tonight's episode of SmackDown, but nothing has been locked down for him at this time. The belief within WWE is that while the company would love to squeeze one last appearance from him, John may want to get back to Hollywood immediately now the strike is over. This desire to go back isn't out of any disregard for WWE, but rather because John realizes how tough things have been for staff who couldn't work due to the strike, and wants to make up for lost time. Whether Cena is on tonight's SmackDown, time will tell, but after the heartbreaking loss he suffered in Riyadh last week, there are some huge questions as to what's to come for the greatest of all time. In April 2024, WWE will host WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, but this will hardly be the only WWE event coming to the city of brotherly love. In a statement, WWE confirmed that SmackDown and the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame will happen on April 5th, while NXT Stand and Deliver will happen on April 6th, mere hours before WrestleMania Night 1. After WrestleMania 40 Night 2 on April 7th, Raw will happen on April 8th, giving fans plenty of WWE action next year for WrestleMania week.